Tonight, we begin a week of Slichos. The Chayadam tells us, usually our weeks are preoccupied with our daily activities. But the week of Slichos, we should put everything on the back burner, and our focus should be Rosh Hashanah, how we can prepare ourselves for Rosh Hashanah. One has to look at the week of Slichos like an Erev Rosh Hashanah all week. Just like Erev Shabbos, when we walk on the streets unannounced, we know it's Erev Shabbos because we see people busy running into the stores. Everybody in the rosh. So too Erev Rosh Hashanah. The whole week of Slichos, we should have the Erev Rosh Hashanah feeling. Everybody's busy preparing ourselves for the gewaltige Tag of Rosh Hashanah. In Slichos tonight, we're going to say, Zoichelim v'royadim miyoyim bayecha. We're engulfed in fear, miyoyim bayecha, for the day of Rosh Hashanah, the day the Rebbeinu Shalom comes to us. What does that mean? Just imagine when there's a hurricane. Before the hurricane comes, the winds come for a few days before we feel the hurricane is coming. So too, the hurricane of Rosh Hashanah, the winds of fear, the Rosh Hashanah Yikasevi and Tzom Kippur Yechasemun. Remembering the Nisan Toikif, that it says clearly when the shofar is blown in Shemayim and announces it's the Yom Hadin, the Malachim are petrified, the Malachim are scared, K'la Yisku Be'enecha Badin. There is nobody that can be vindicated from the Rebbeinu Shalom's din. That's why we say in Slichos tonight we need a nes for the din to succeed. And those are the wins that we should think about a whole week of Slichos. And remember all the tragedies from a whole year and the last few years should linger in our mind and wake us up and realize Rosh Hashanah is coming. And once and for all, our avodah can impact Rosh Hashanah, that we should have a tremendous Yelanu L'chol Yisrael. The Yisod Shorish V'avodah says something very, very powerful. He says, Slichos is the beginning of Yomim Noraim. It's not just a prep, it's the beginning of Yomim Noraim. Just imagine tonight when the Chazan says, Ashrei Yoshvei Veisecha, the Heilige Tag, the Yomim Noraim start. That gives us a much deeper feeling to the Yemei Slichos. And let me share you two stories that highlight this point of the Yisod Shorish V'avodah. There's a famous story with the Ribnitzer Rebbe. The Ribnitzer Rebbe used to say Tikkun Chatzos every night. And during Slichos, after Tikkun Chatzos at 3:15 in the morning, he said Slichos. Not always did he have a minyan. There was a Yid Rav Pinchas that tried every night to get the Rebbe a minyan. One night he gets up and he goes around to different shuls looking for people. Do you want to be part of the minyan with the Heilige Tzaddik? And he comes to one shul and he sees a Yid reading Slichos at the beginning of Slichos, and he asks him, you're saying it b'yechidus now, come to the Rebbe. And he agrees. He puts him into the car and they go to the Rebbe, and Baruch Hashem, they had a minyan. And the Rebbe looks around, there's 10 people. The Rebbe goes, Ashrei, and he couldn't get the words out of his mouth. He tries again and again, it doesn't go. He turns around and he looks at the crowd and he pierces at each individual. I was zoicha to see the Ribnitzer Rebbe. When he looked at you, you tzitted. It was such a scary experience. And he looks at every Yid's face. And every Yid is sittering. And he goes back to the Amid. And he starts saying, Ashrei, it doesn't come out. Then he turns around to his Gaba. And he tells his Gaba, somebody started saying Slichos over here. And they look around. Nobody said Slichos. Then finally this Yid says, yes, I started a part of Slichos already. So the Rebbe turns around, Mahatnish Ten Minyan, because when somebody starts saying Slichos, you go into a different zone. You're in a different world. Sishain angefangen. You can't be mitzvah from the Minyan, you're a different person. The power of Slichos. There was this Yid, an Amoritz, that lived in a little shtetl in Europe. And And Slichos comes, he really didn't know the Taich of Slichos. And when it comes to Aneinu, he thought it meant, Ani knew that there's going to be no more Aniyim around. And he cried, Aneinu, Aneinu, Aneinu. So one of the greatest Chassidish Rebbe said, and that's Chus Klal Yisrael had a year of Parnasa. The power of Slichos. We go into a different zone. What's so powerful about Slichos? What is it in Slichos that it's so powerful that it can turn around the whole year and give the whole Klal Yisrael Parnasa? What's so powerful when a person just starts saying Slichos? Everything changes. You're in a different world. So to understand the power of Slichos, let us focus on Slichos itself. And one focus is on Slichos itself. It seems a little difficult to understand our theme and objective of Slichos. We start off, L'cha Hashem tzedakah v'lanu boishes upon him. We betrayed you, Rabbeinu Shlomo, we are so embarrassed. There is no way of rectifying, of doing anything. We're speechless. We really betrayed you. We don't have your trust anymore. And we go on, we tell the Bayishim, we're like paupers knocking at your door. We beg you, no, we shouldn't come back empty-handed. Give us a little something, a little crumb. And the same concept is echoed again. We say it at the end of this period. We can't say anything. We can't even pick up our heads because our avarice are so much. Yet we find throughout the Piyutim, and especially in the last Piyut we're going to say tonight, we ask the Rabbeinu Shalom, accept our tefillos like a carbon. We ask the Rabbeinu Shalom, please tap into that special Eitz in Shemayim and give us that special bracha. We ask the Rabbeinu Shalom, remember the Schusim Aravis. We're paupers. We can't even open up our mouths. Any little crumb the Rebbeinu Shalom gives us, we should be happy with. Yet we ask for such big madregas that our tefillah should be accepted like a carbon. Wow, that's something special. We shouldn't just have a year, but we should have a year that's fueled from the special oitzah that the Rebbeinu Shalom has in Shemayim. We're like beggars banging on the door, hungry, we'll take anything. And all of a sudden, we ask for so much. And what's this dialogue? Over and over again, every piyut. We say in Yom Kippur, after Shemona Esrei, say something very powerful. And technically, after the introduction in Slichos, this is what we should be saying. Before we were created, it wasn't worth it to create us. Now that we created, it's like we were never created. We're worthless. That's all we are. That's what we should be saying tonight, over and over again. Yet we have a whole dialogue with the Rebbeinu Shalom back and forth. And we tell the Rebbeinu Shalom we went through such tzaris. Our enemies that destroy us, please eradicate them. Aren't we beggars? We should be happy with anything. We're embarrassed. We're ashamed to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Yet all of a sudden we turn around and we ask for so much. And why is it called Slichos? Slichos means forgiveness. Our forgiveness is on Yom Kippur, not now. Why is it called Slichos? And the famous question, at the end of Slichos, we say over and over again, Ashamnu. We know the Rambam says, Vidui, Ashamnu, is the end of the mitzvah of Hilchos Tshuva. Are we at the end of the mitzvah of Hilchos Tshuva, or at the beginning, the initial stages? Why Hashamnu, Hashamnu? We're first telling the Rebbeinu Shalom we're embarrassed we did Averis, we're not by the Tshuva stage. There's a fascinating Tana Devei Eliyahu. The source of us saying Slichos is David HaMelech says, Hashem Hayeshiva Melech Yaneinu V'Yoim Kareinu. When a Yid has a tzara, the Rebbeinu Shem Yitzlat B'Yoim Kareinu. Zok David HaMelech, he was mitzvah and he cried to the Rebbeinu Shleilam. After the Churban Beis HaMikdash, when we have no karbonis, and when Klal Yisrael does Averis, what's going to be the kapara for Klal Yisrael? So the Rebbeinu Shem said that Klal Yisrael gets together, they say to Yud Gimel Midash HaRachmim, with Slichos, and I will answer them. Hashem Hayeshiva Melech Yaneinu V'Yoim Kareinu. Is that our objective of Slichos? Are we getting answered tonight? Is the Rebbeinu Shem answering us tonight? Isn't Slichos just a prep? What is this Slichos? What's the objective of Slichos? What's the theme of Slichos? So could be the answer is, maybe, there's a parsha in the Torah of Eishes Yifas Torah. An Erlich Yid goes to Melchama, and unfortunately he has an Nisayon with Eishes Yifas Torah. And the Rebbeinu Shleilam is mattered, even though it's Aser. And of course the obvious question is why? If it's Aser, it's Aser. Why do we find that the Rebbeinu Shem was mattered? So I saw from Reb Leib Lapian something fascinating. Just imagine we're dealing with an Erlich Yid over here. And he does such an Aveira. You can imagine what he feels like. He would give up totally, so embarrassed to face the Rebbeinu Shleilam. So miyuyish. So the Rebbeinu Shem b'chaz dekei Baruch Shema, he felt, rather make it mutter, even though it's a dover or aser, but the person shouldn't be miyayish. And the Even Ezra echoes the same concept. We say in David HaMelech says, "Im avoynois tishmar ka Hashem miyamoid." If the Rebbeinu Shalom preserves our averis, we can't exist. Ki imcho haslicho leman tivore. What does that posik mean? Ki imcho haslicho leman tivore. Zok to Even Ezra something very powerful. That the Rebbeinu Shalom, because he's Moichel Averis, Leman Tivore, then we can have a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. If the Rebbeinu Shalom wouldn't have the key to Slicha, we would give up. We do Averis, we would give up. But since the Rebbeinu Shalom has the keys to Tshuva and Slicha, Leman Tivore, that fuels our relationship. Then we go on in that same capital. Kavis Hashem kivsa nashu dvar acholti. Nafshi Hashem yishayim laboika. And the Neshama yearns for the Rebbeinu Shalom, just like we yearn for sunrise. We're talking about a balavera over here that gets a little slicha. Then we jump to Kavisi Hashem kivsa nafshi. Nafshi Hashem yishayim laboika. What's the pshat? So maybe with a mashal we can understand what the chain of these psukim are. There was once this younger man got married. 3 weeks later he found out, Rahman al-Itzlan, his wife, got sick and very sick. For 3 years she went through treatments, in and out of the hospital, and the husband went with her. Didn't sleep on the bed, slept on the chair next to him. When she threw up, he cleaned it up. Day after day, he took care of her. Left Kyle for 3 years just to take care of his wife. And then his wife miraculously has a refuah shalema. And she asked him, Yankala, what can I pay you back? And she answers him, that you're healthy is the biggest payment. And could be that's the pshat in these psukim over here. When a person realizes that when we do Averis, and we should give up and say Kedusha is not for us, we can't. And yet the Rebbeinu Shalom embraces us anyway. He says you did Averis, but that doesn't contradict the connection with me, a connection with Kedusha. Oh, how deep that connection comes. The Bayishim tells us he just wants a healthy you. Yes, you did Averis, but through tshuva, I just want a healthy you. And that's the continuity in the psukim over here. Ki imcha aslicho leman tivare. And once I realized in the darkest times when I would give up because I did such Averis, Kivisi Hashem kivso nafshi. No, I see Rabbeinu Shmi, you love me and you want a healthy me. Just like this Yankala wanted a healthy wife, the Rabbeinu Shmi wants a healthy us. We come to a yontif of Rosh Hashanah. We think to ourselves, Rosh Hashanah, such a gewaldige lechtike yontif l'dover Hashem oiri. The yontif of opportunity, the yontif to refurbish ourselves, the yontif to connect us to Rabbeinu Shleilam. Rab Simcha Bunim Peshischak gives a fascinating mashal about Rosh Hashanah. He says there's once this king that had a prince. And the prince unfortunately did not appreciate being a prince. Didn't live up to his responsibilities of royalty, what that meant. And the king had to exile him. And of course the king sent people to watch to make sure from far that he would stay fine. But unfortunately he deteriorated to the point he became one of the beggars. And the king couldn't handle it. So the king called his people together and tells them, give a message to my son. He can have whatever he wants. He can come home, give him whatever he wants. Give him that offer and come back to me. He goes to the son. And the son says, wow, that was so nice of my father. It's so cold living on the streets. I need a good warm coat. That's what our Rosh Hashanah looks like. We have a chance to go home to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Instead, we beg for materialistic things. Now let's understand what going home means. What does it mean going home to the Rabbeinu Shalom's home? A person on Rosh Hashanah can go to the Rabbeinu Shalom back home. So let me give you a mashal what that means. Let's humanize that. Just imagine if somebody had an office on a busy street and his office was 3 flights up. And he's looking out of his window and he sees a traffic jam. The light turned green and the traffic is not moving. And everybody hunks. And this person from the 3rd floor sees it's an elderly woman going with her wagon slowly across the street. And he laughs at the people getting agitated. It's an elderly woman. He sees a whole different picture. When somebody is in the world of the Rabbeinu Shalom, you see a whole different picture. Happiness has a different definition. Tranquility has a different definition. People have a different definition. Midas have a different definition. Everything we see in a much bigger picture because we're connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom, we're in the Rabbeinu Shalom's world. To the point I said over so many times, when the Kovna ghetto was liquidated, on Simchas Torah and on the way to the gas chambers, one yid screams to Simchas Torah, another yid screams, Lamet Tansin. A third yid says, Am Hamishkan Sefer Torah to Tansin. And a fourth yid says, we're so close to the Rabbeinu Shalom, we can Tansin on Sefer Torah, and that's how they got killed. So Rav Shach used to say over the story over and over again, he says, they didn't die al Kiddush Hashem, they lived al Kiddush Hashem. The Rabbeinu Shalom's world is bigger than life and death. And that's what Rosh Hashanah offers us. A new world, a world of the Rabbeinu Shalom. And we connected that through Malchios. Through the Rabbeinu Shalom injects in us 2 days Rosh Hashanah, a year of Shemayim, Cheshik. And with that, if we connect to it, we can be different people. We can be a Beri Chadosh or a new person, refurbished, totally new, with a Cheshik and everything. This week in Yeshiva, to echo this point, a bacher told me a fascinating word. And this lends to what we're discussing over here. We asked that we look at these parshas, the klaler atnum is the brachas by so much. What's the pshat in it? So one bacher said, it's a nishken kasha. Because klaler is the Torah has to specify. But brachas, it's not possible to put words into brachas because brachas are much bigger than this world. So the Torah just gives you a little taste of what brachas are. That's a bacher that understands melekt in the Rabbeinu Shloim's Welt, not in the world we perceive we live in. And that's what Rosh Hashanah is all about. And Rosh Hashanah is the koyach, we look at ourselves in the mirror. Oh, that's what Rosh Hashanah can do. That's why Rav Pam used to call Rosh Hashanah Yomim Nafloim, not Yomim Naroim. The wonders that can happen to every Yid. The inside of a Yid can come out and it can be like a Malach Elikim, just the way the Rebbeinu Shem created us to be, and even bigger. And that's what the Rebbeinu Shem offers us into Rosh Hashanah. But unfortunately we come to Rosh Hashanah and we think to ourselves, that's me. Can I be such a person? Can I live in the Rebbeinu Shem's world? It's a joke. I did so many averos. Me, I can have such a level of kedusha. Yet Rosh Hashanah says, no, kedoshim tiyu, like Chazal says, yochel kadosh kamoini. Every yid can get to the level of kedusha, like the Rebbeinu Shem, because you're in the Rebbeinu Shem's world. But that's not for me. That's for the young man going to Yeshiva every day. That's for Reb Chaim Kanievsky's. But for me to live in the Rebbeinu Shem's world, that's not possible. I did averis, that's not possible. The Rebbeinu Shem wants me. He wants somebody sitting and learning. He wants a Rebbe, a Maggid chair, but me. And that's unfortunately our subconscious mindset when we go into the Heilige Tag. But we have to realize that's not the way it is. That's that sas of the Yetzer Hara. And that's what Slichos is all about. We tell the Rebbeinu Shlom, Lanu, Boishis Haponim, we're embarrassed. Yet we have a dialogue with the Rebbeinu Shlom every day over and over again. Because the more we realize we're a Boishis Haponim, and the more we realize the Rebbeinu Shlom wants to hear from us. He loves us even more and more. Yes, you're a Boishis Haponim, but I still love you. I want the real healthy you. And that's why we say Slichos day in, day out, over and over again. And it's such a powerful connection to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's such a man mesugo for such power. Like this poor Yid was able to do who knows what from a Slichos. Because the Rebbeinu Shalom is sitting there and saying, yes, with your averis, with your shmutz, whoever you are, I want you, and come and I'll make a healthy you. And we impress that on ourselves, not 1 day slichos, not 2 day slichos, a few days slichos, the message over and over and over again. And we say, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Ashamnu, we did averis, but we have to have a mind, the Rebbeinu Shem still loves us. Bagadnu, we're begging in the Rebbeinu Shem, the Rebbeinu Shem still loves us. Gozalnu, Dibani Daifi, if to every Ashamnu, Bagadnu, we have to have a mind, but the Rebbeinu Shem loves us. You see, he's letting us ask for whatever we want. We have a dialogue with him. And that's what the Medrash means. Hashem Hayeshiva. HaMelech Yaneinu v'Yom Kareinu. Yes, we're getting answered every day by Slichos. And our answer is, you're getting closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're taking that gap that the Yetzer Hara made between us and the Rebbeinu Shalom, tells us, this is not for you. Don't fool yourself. Rosh Hashanah is not for you. Maybe Sukkot, maybe other Yom Tovim, but not Rosh Hashanah. When you change and become a Helikiah, that's not for you. You're going to do Averis. You did Averis. That's not for you. Leave that for the younger light going to Yeshiva. Hashem Hayeshiva, Melech Yaneinu v'Yom Kareinu. Every day We said, Lanu Baishta Parna Masham, we have a dialogue with the Rabbeinu Shem. We're talking to the Rabbeinu Shem. The Rabbeinu Shem knows our darkest secrets when we say Lanu Baishta upon him. Yet that doesn't change the relationship. Because the Rabbeinu Shem wants to get closer because he wants that healthy, like Yankala wanted that healthy wife. That's the biggest prize to Rabbeinu Shem. In the parish of Chu, we say, Beficha v'levavcha la'asoi, say, what's the lashon of peh before leiv? Because you first need that peh to speak out to the Rabbeinu Shalom, to have that dialogue with the Rabbeinu Shalom. And then you can go into the next level of tshuva. But this is a level of tshuva already. Let me just share with you a story. I befriended a bacher in my neighborhood. And the bacher calls me up Mוצאי Shabbos crying on the phone. He has to come speak to me. He comes to my house and he's crying. He said he went away for Shabbos and he did a terrible Aveira. How can he get up tomorrow morning and dive into the Rabbeinu Shalom? How can he go to learn for a Seder with such an Aveira? So I stood up and I gave him a kiss. I said, those feelings are so precious. And that's what Slichos is all about. Those feelings are seeds that can change us, seeds that can bring us closer to the Rabbeinu Shalom. And those feelings every Yid has. Those feelings that we feel so tzibrocha when we do an Aveir that we can't connect to the Rabbeinu Shalom, it's multiplied before the Yom Tovim like Rosh Hashanah. We feel, who are we? Oh, those are such halakha feelings. Because that's what Slichos is all about. We take those feelings and we realize those are the seeds. And those take root and those connect us to the Rabbeinu Shalom and carry us through the whole Yom right through Roshon and Yom Kippur. There was this boy that was a 7th grader in one of the local moistas here. Very average boy. He never got more than a 70, 75 on his test. And at the beginning of the year, the Rebbe announced before Pesach, they have a test on the whole parak that they learned. 2 months before Pesach, the boy comes over to his father and he tells his father, Tati, I want to get a good mark in that test. Let's learn every night for 2 months before. And they learned for 2 months straight. The day of the test comes. This boy starts the test and the Rebbe is looking. And in the middle of the test, the boy is looking at something in his pocket. It looked like a sheet. And the Rebbe starts looking. This boy was such an honest boy. And every few questions, the boy looks back in his sheet over there, in his pocket. And this boy usually never handed in his test from the first ones. And he was the first one finished with the test. And the Rebbe looks at the test, and he got most of the answers right. Something must be wrong over here. There must be something in that pocket. And the Rebbe calls over the boy after all the kids left class for recess. And he asked him, Yankala, what happened? What was that piece of paper in your pocket? Was it something you shouldn't have had in your pocket? What was it? So he says, Rebbe, you got it wrong. I came to my father the day of the test and told him, Tati, you prepared me so nicely. But when the test is going to come, I'm going to get so nervous. I'm going to lose my traction. I'll forget everything. What should I do, Tati? So my father took a paper out, a little card. And you know what that card was? That was the card you gave my father on the first PTA. It was on my desk. And you as a Rebbe wrote to my father how special I am, my midas, and how nice I am. Take this card, keep it in this pocket, and whenever you feel like you're losing your traction, you're getting overwhelmed, you're losing who you are, your value that you prepared for this beher, look at that piece of paper and that'll give you chizuk. Our card that we have to look at the whole Rosh Hashanah and Kippur is our Yumei Slichos. Realize, with our Averis, with Lanu Baishis upon him, the Rabbeinu Shalom still wants us and embraces us and engages with us. We're going to come to times during Rosh Hashanah and we're going to see Gavaldik and Madregas and the Eitzar, the demons with us are going to tell us, that's not you. Yes, it's nice a little for Rosh Hashanah, take a flavor for the Yontif flavor with the honey cake. A little ruchnius is great. But that's not you. And then after Rosh Hashanah, Saras Yemei Tshuva is going to come. Hey, you see, this is not you. You're really that Balaver, and you were right to be scared of Rosh Hashanah. And you'll have that little card of Slichos in your pocket that'll carry you through Rosh Hashanah, through Yom Kippur, till you hug that Sefer on that Torah and Simchas Torah, and you'll think to yourself, me dancing Simchas Torah, I have a shaychus to Torah, yes, after Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot you do, but I'm a Bal Aveira, I did Aveiris. You have that Slichos, that card in your pocket, to always tell you how valuable you are and how special you are. Because the Rebbe wants you, even though you did your Averis, but the Rebbe wants you. So the Rebbe helping that these powerful Yemei Slichos, the bridge to the Yomim Narayim, the Slichos Reda says this is the Yom Narayim already. This is the Avodah of Tshuva already. This is the Avodah of Rosh Hashanah that the Rebbe should refurbish us and makes us into a new person. This is the foundation right now. This is the beginning. Let's take the Yemei Slichos seriously. Let's work on the Yemei Slichos, that it should be taka like days of Yomim Narayim. And the Rebbe should all help in taka. If we work on these Heilige Tag of Yemei Slichos, how many Yeshuas we need in Klal Yisrael. We don't have to enumerate, just look at the past few years, what this young generation has lived through. Rabbeinu Shalom. Let's be Mesakin the Yemei Slichos, Roshani and Kippur and Sukkot by Klal Yisrael is Gevaldik. Now let's take the Yemei Slichos and make them taka equal to Yom Narayim, and at that chus will Aksivach Siman Tova Good Geben Shah Lanu L'Chol Yisrael.